told you not to do no sin no more. I guess they acting like they hear me. 90 days I let a fiend for. If this what you want, you best go be slow. And she said, baby, I know you legit. Baby, I know you legit. She said, me like you don't even exist. And I said, UPK made me like this. Bada bing, I popped the least spit. I start all my crowns, ring and necklace. Do what the men above had taught me. Hey, you say I play too hot, no coffee. I had to change my life like this, yeah. I'm taking life for what it is, yeah. Quit acting blind, you need some lenses. Abiding by the damn scriptures, hey. I told you not to do no sin no more. I guess they acting like they hear me. 90 days I let a fiend for. If this what you want, you best go be slow. And she said, baby, I know you legit. Baby, I know you legit. She said, me like you don't even exist. And I said, UPK made me like this. I've been up, 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 I've been up. Quit the fuss, show me love, I need love. Don't wanna leave me, yeah. I'm mixing up my damn problems. I'm mixing out all of that violence. If you with me, we on that fly shit. To all these worldly bastards round us, I say, I told you not to do no sin no more. I guess they acting like they hear me. 90 days I let a fiend for. If this what you want, you best go be slow. And she said, baby, I know you legit. Baby, I know you legit. She said, me like you don't even exist. And I said, UPK made me like this.
Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. And we teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, according to our records, the Holy Bible, King James Version 1611, are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, God's chosen people. Okay, this is the Monday Night Law class. We've got a lot going on in the school. We'll just go through what's going on in the school, then we'll go straight into tonight's class with the topic. Okay, so well, before we start, Yehovah Shim Yoshai Brakatam to the brothers, Wa Yehovah Shemai Ladam Shim Yoshai to the sisters. So Monday night we've got the law class. That's tonight. Tuesday night we've got the brotherhood class. Wednesday night we've got the history class. Thursday night we've got the scripture breakdown class, and Friday night we've got the Lashwan Kodash class. All classes are streamed live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter from 7 till 9. Friday night after the Lashwan Kodash class at 9 o'clock. We have On the Ends, our live radio show with Captain Karathia and Officer Dungabar. That's from 9 till 11. Then Saturday morning, we have a Sabbath service in the school. All of our people, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are welcome. 394 Lodge Road, Hockley, Birmingham. We'll give you the postcode before the class is finished by the end of the night, 9 o'clock. So all the classes in the week are streamed live from 7 till 9. You can only attend live classes in the school in the week on a Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Tuesday, Brotherhood class, and Friday, Lashawan Kodash class, the school is shut. It's not the broadcast is not from the school. But the other three, the Monday night law class, the Wednesday night history class, and the Thursday night scripture breakdown class is live in the school. So come one, come all. All of our people are welcome, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, as recorded in our records, the Holy Bible, King James Version 1611. Saturday morning, like we said, we've got a Sabbath service in the school from 10 to 11. Then from 12 till 5, we hit the concrete for street camp, which is like I said, from 12 till 5, 1 week in Birmingham city centre, the next week in central London.
That's right.
We alternate each week, 1 week in Birmingham, 1 week in London. So twice a month we'll be in Birmingham Central, and twice a month we'll be in London Central. That's what we've got going on in the school, a lot going on in the school. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into tonight's class and topic. So the heading of tonight's class is polygamy is not adultery. And we're going to prove that in the Bible tonight that polygamy is not adultery, because most of our people have been raised in the Christian Baptist Church and the Roman Catholic Church, or one of the Christian denominations, and we've been taught that polygamy is adultery. And we know from the Bible, from the law, the laws recorded by Moses in the first 5 books, that adultery is against the law. So if polygamy is adultery, then we are breaking the law, having multiple wives, because polygamy is having more than one wife. So let's get a definition. Can we have a Google definition of polygamy? I don't want Baba Kashar. Yeah, let's have it up on the screen so we can read it. I can get it on my phone if you want me to. I don't want. Okay, so the Google definition. I've looked up prior to tonight's class. I've looked up the definition of polygamy in the Zandaphon and in the Compact Bible Dictionary, and it sends you to a precept in the Bible. So we're not going to go for the Bible definition. And monogamy, is monogamy in the Zandaphon? Monogamy is not in the Zandaphon. No, but polygamy is. But it uses a Bible precept for the definition. So we'll get the Google definition, and then we'll get some precepts from the Bible to find out exactly what polygamy is, and if it's lawful or unlawful according to the Lord, the Most High God.
Right, adultery. Sorry, you done?
Yeah.
Adultery, voluntary sexual activity and sexual intercourse between a married man and some other than his wife, or between a woman and some other than her husband. That's the white man definition.
Okay, so that's not polygamy.
What, adultery or polygamy?
No, polygamy. What's that? Adultery? No, just polygamy. We don't want adultery. So scrap that, wipe that. We don't want the definition of adultery. We know what adultery is. Adultery is against the law. There's a law that does not allow us to commit adultery. Okay, so we want the Google definition of polygamy, and then we'll go straight to the Bible and get the Bible's definition and what it means to have polygamy, or to embrace it or not to embrace it, because a lot of our sisters feel a way about polygamy, and hopefully after tonight's class you won't feel such a way, and you'll go and ask your Christian pastor why he's teaching you that polygamy is wrong. You should feel a way about it. You should be prideful about it, and all the other things and emotions that comes along that you've been taught by your Christian pastor that makes you emotional on the subject of polygamy. Or even your pastor's made some of our sisters believe that you're a victim to polygamy. And according to our records, according to our prophets, and according to the Most High God, polygamy is a beautiful thing. It's not a disgusting, filthy thing like your Christian church has pushed on you and taught you. So let's get the definition of polygamy. Read that from Baba Kashado.
Polygamy, marriage to more than one spouse. The most typical forms of polygamy have been polygyny, in which co-wives share their husband, or polyandry, in which co-husbands share their wife. However, same-sex marriage may investigate new forms of polygamy.
Okay, so that's going into something else. That's homosexuality, and that's not the definition of polygamy. So there you've got the definition of polygamy. It's a man having more than one wife.
That's right.
Okay, and according to the Bible, it's the same thing, a man having more than one wife. Now, a woman having more than one husband is not polygamy. That's adultery.
That's right.
Okay, so we'll go into the best way we could describe it. Okay, so imagine, let's do it right now before we grab some of these precepts on polygamy. So if you could imagine we're at the end of this wicked kingdom, and there's 200 people left on a jumbo jet. Everybody else is dead, been wiped out. And this jumbo jet crashes on a deserted island. Can you imagine? The last 200 people in this kingdom. And this jumbo jet crashes on a deserted island. And the only survivors of the crash is 10 women and 1 man. So now we're looking at a scenario where you've got 10 incubators or 10 pieces of land, 10 soils, and 1 seed to plant. Now, these 11 people, the last 11 people in this kingdom, their job is to replenish or to repopulate this earth or to repopulate this kingdom. Then isn't it better there is 1 seed and many incubators? So that 1 seed in the same day, you might think it's a lot of work cut out for the seedling, but that 1 seed can impregnate 10 women in 1 day. Okay, so we're looking at 10 months from that date. 10 new lives are being brought into this kingdom. Right. Okay, now imagine, let's reel back a little bit, let's rewind. And that plane's crashed on a deserted island. Imagine the last 10 survivors, the last 11 survivors of that plane crash is 1 woman and 10 men. That all 10 men are going to jump on that 1 woman, turn her into a whore against the law. They're going to turn her into a slut against the law. And she's going to have 10 pockets on her jacket. Now, what does that mean? Because that's a Jamaican term. A pocket, a jacket pick-me, with 10 pockets on it. Okay, so a jacket pick-me, in layman's terms, is a child born and you don't know whose father, where that child comes from, what lineage or seed it's come from. Now, these 10 men have all jumped on this 1 woman. According to our records, that's confusion. That's right. And that's why a woman is not allowed to have 2 husbands. That's right. That is adultery. So this woman sleeping with the 10 men, to keep the law, this woman, imagine the last 11 people from this plane crash were Israelites and they were subject to keeping the laws of our records. Then that woman would have to choose 1 of the 10 surviving men. And now you've got 9 men running around this deserted island, and all there is on the island is goats and chickens, and 9 men. Okay, so what's that encouraging? Bestiality? What's that encouraging? Frustration amongst the men? So we can see that the Most High God doesn't make mistakes. He made polygamy legal and lawful for a reason. And he made adultery by a woman illegal, because the Most High knows everything. Right. The Most High doesn't make mistakes. You got something out of it.
What? So the analogy you made was deep. It sparked something in me, car. Even farmers know that. Farmers have 1 bag of cows and 1 bull. Because they know this bull can breed all these women. In reverse, it wouldn't work. You had 1,000 of bull and 1 cow. She can only get pregnant once at a time. Farmer will make no money. He'll have no beef. Same with chickens, have 1 rooster. And that's how it works. And man needs more to replenish the earth and have, a nation. And man needs that's how our nation was made anyway.
Can't. That's heavy. So this is what we're looking at. Polygamy is not against the law in the Bible, but adultery is. And polygamy is not adultery. So our Christian pastors have taught us that polygamy is adultery. But where is that in the Bible? Where is that in the records? There's no record of polygamy being adultery. And like we said, if we had that kind of scenario where the last 11 people on this earth, the majority, 10 of them were men and 1 was woman, that would bring about confusion. That's right. And I hope we can all see this and understand that, because the Most High God doesn't make mistakes. And that is why he made this a law in our records, so we'd understand this and so that we'd get it. Okay? You only need 1 seed, 1 man, to impregnate them 10 women. And 10 months from that date of conception, you would have 10 new lives. But what is the point of having 10 men and 1 woman? That's going to take centuries and millenniums to repopulate the earth if it was that way, because at 10 months from the date of conception, only one new life is being brought into this world.
You might be lucky to get twins.
You might be lucky and get twins or triplets. But it's imagine the 10 women in the analogy I'm giving you. Imagine the 10 women all had triplets. In 10 months, that's 30 new lives. And now we're starting to get somewhere. Right. Now we're going to start repopulating this earth. Okay, so I hope you understand that. I hope you get that. We're going to start off with Exodus 2 and let's start at verse 16. When you're ready, Adawan, if you can read that for us, Baba Kusha.
Exodus 2 and 15. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled their troughs.
Okay, so here, can I just hold that and just rewind 1 second?
No,
we're gonna come back to this precept. I just wanna ask you a question. Does anybody in class know where polygamy comes from? Sorry, not polygamy. What is the opposite to polygamy? Does anybody know the opposite to polygamy? You want to bash at that other one?
What? Monogamy?
Monogamy, correct. So monogamy is the opposite to polygamy. And where does monogamy come from? Because it's not in our records. Okay, we know we're not going to teach anything wrong. We know there's certain leaders in our records that could only have how many wives? Other one. One.
I think Levites need one.
Levites, the high priest, the Levitical priesthood, they were ordained to have one wife. So there were certain leaders in our records that were ordained only to have one wife. But polygamy is lawful.
That's right.
Outside of the Levitical priesthood. Okay, so there's no law saying that polygamy is prohibited or unlawful or it's not allowed amongst the Israelites. So let's have a look at where monogamy comes from. How did this wicked ass kingdom give birth to monogamy? And that came from the Greeks and the Romans, the ancient Greeks and the Romans who enhanced and advertised and pushed homosexuality. And we always forget that. So let's have a look at some definitions here, or some breakdowns of the Greek and Roman empires concerning monogamy. So the Greek and Roman men were not allowed to be married to more than one wife. So the Romans and the Greeks, around about 1700 years ago, and we'll get the date in a minute, brought out laws saying that polygamy was unlawful. And these are the same people that say they're Roman Catholics and they're Christians, and they believe in what? They believe in Black history. They believe in our records, which is the Holy Bible. So if they believe in the Holy Bible and they teach in their churches and through their denominations and religions, Christianity, Jehovah's Wickedness, morons or Mormons, whatever they call them, and Roman and Catholicism, Baptist, Pentecost, Seventh-day Adventist, all the Christian religions and denominations, then why the hell are they teaching something that goes completely against the word of the Most High God? Okay, so let's have another look. And this is from Google. This is their records. If these are our records, the Holy Bible, you can damn near bet your bottom dollar that Google is their record.
That's right.
Okay, so in their records it reads, Greek and Roman men were not allowed to be married to more than one wife at a time, and not supposed to cohabit with concubines during a marriage. Now, a concubine is a wife because you've had sex with her, but she might have come from a different background to an Israelite woman, or A concubine could have been an Israelite woman. She might have been a handmaid, a servant. You don't know, whatever the circumstance. Okay, but for example, King Solomon had 300 concubines. We've got the records of that. Okay, so here the Romans and Greeks made a law that it was unlawful. Polygamy was unlawful. Monogamy was to be kept once you got married to a woman. Okay, so were the Romans monogamous? Certainly, because they made laws. Google says the institution of Roman marriage was a practice of marital monogamy. Roman citizens could have only one spouse at a time in marriage, but were allowed to divorce and remarry. And that brings about that. Now you start to get an understanding of what monogamy and this law that the Romans and Greeks came about. Because if we bring it forward 1700 years to the modern era, you know that it's lawful to marry and divorce, where in Israel and in our records, it's unlawful to divorce. Once you're married to a woman, there's no such thing as divorce. You're not allowed to put your wife away. That's unlawful. There's no negotiating on this. Once you're married in Israel, we are married. We do not divorce our women. We do not put them away. That's a law. But these Romans and Greeks, just like the modern oppressor, have made a law to say that you can divorce and remarry and divorce 10 times in one lifetime. And we all know what the modern day oppressor's marriage brings about. What does it bring about? Revenue. Salakia. It brings about revenue. It brings about generating money for the churches, for the government, because if the church puts on the ceremony and makes £4,000 from the wedding or the ceremony, the government make excess amount of money from the certificate or the license that is published by the Home Office or whichever government department that lawfully bind a man and a woman together. And that's what these Roman and Greek laws were about. They were to generate revenue for the Roman and Greek empires. And it's carried on to this modern day where you have to pay for a wedding. No marriage nowadays is cheap unless you're in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohanna, where according to the Bible and what we teach in the UPK, the home of the truth, that sex is marriage. Now, unless you have embraced prostitution, you don't have to pay for sex. You marrying a woman in Israel is free. It's free. There might be a dowry to pay, or there was, okay. But if you come into 394 Lodge Road and you get a wife from the school, we're not paying a dowry nowadays. We pay what? Pay dowry still. Oh, Khan. Salakia, my bad. There's a dowry payment, but you're not putting £4,000 or £5,000 into the Christian church or to the church pot, the pastor's pot. You're not paying a further. How much is a marriage license nowadays?
And don't forget about the whole.
And the aftermath, the after part, and then there's a honeymoon. The honeymoon's what? Another 10 rand?
Go to Bahamas or something.
I mean, a wedding nowadays, a real white wedding, what they call a real white church wedding, costs up to anywhere up to 15-20 rack. 15. Okay, a box standard wedding nowadays will cost you 20 rack. That's 20,000, 20K.
I think
yeah, if you go all out and have one of them, not one of them gypsies weddings, one of them televised, documented weddings, you're looking at, imagine you have a David Beckham, Victoria Beckham wedding. What are you looking at? $250,000?
Yeah.
250 rack. It's just bizarre. And none of this is recorded in our records. But we've got sisters running up and down the country, running up and down the world saying, I want a wedding, I want a church wedding, I want a white wedding. That this is how it's supposed to be. This is how God made it. No, it is not. Who told you that? And that's not how it's supposed to be. And it's certainly not in our records. So let's go back to Google for 1 second, finish off with these Romans and Greek and what they've done to the law and recreated this law on their own terms and conditions. Okay, so could Romans marry non-Romans? Let's have a look. A proper Roman marriage could not take place unless a bride and a groom were Roman citizens or had been granted special permission called connubium. Okay. Here's another one. Did Greeks believe in monogamy? Marriages were intended to be monogamous. Who taught the Romans and Greeks this? They've got our records and they've flipped it. They flipped it because we lived in Roman Greece in these times. These are what the letters from the Apostle Paul were to Corinthians, Colossians, Ephesians, did I say Corinthians? Damn near 70% of the New Testament, all the letters that Paul wrote were to Hebrew Israelite Greeks that were living in that part of the world in Europe. These were not to the oppressors, the European Greeks and the European Romans. These letters were to our people, and we was being told not to follow these vain customs, okay, of having ceremonial weddings. Okay, sex was marriage according to the Bible. So let's get Exodus 2 and 16. And just hold it for me. I've got one more, which says, is there one more? Okay, did Greeks believe in monogamy? Yes, they certainly did. That's it. That's it. So this is where it comes from. And the Romans and Greeks wanted to bring about revenue and money collections. And that's carried us through to today's era, where weddings cost an arm and a leg, so to speak. Are we all following this? Do we all get this? Okay, so let's get Exodus 2 and 16, Baba Kashar.
Exodus 2 and 16. Now the priest of Midian, Sakia, had 7 daughters.
So we've come out of we're in our Exodus. We're leaving Egypt under Moses's rulership. Read on, Baba Kashar.
God had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water.
Okay, so Salakia, sir. So Moses is at the water hole. Okay, it's in a period of where Exodus is happening, where we're about to, or we're leaving the Egyptian captivity. So Moses has got heavy weights on his shoulders. He's got a lot of responsibility. And here he is with these Midianite daughters, one of them being the priest's daughter. Okay, so now the priest of Midianite had 7 daughters. So they're all the priest's daughters. And Moses is at the water hole, and these daughters are trying to get water from the water hole. And guess what happens? Read on, Baba Kashasa.
And filled their troughs to water their flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. Okay,
so some gangbanging thugs that were Midianite shepherds came to the water hole and say, you're women, you don't get to water your flock before us. Our goats, our sheep, they need water, and we're men. They was just on some bully tactics. Okay, Moses is at the water hole, at one end of the water hole, just watching Wagwan. He's just laid up in the cut. You got something?
This is when Moses on the run. This is before it says.
Yeah, this is when Moses. That's what I'm saying. It's in a time period of when the Exodus was happening or about to happen. Okay, but Moses has been exiled. He's left Egypt. Okay, and he's more or less in the wilderness, but he's come to this village, Midianite village or town, and he's at the water hole seeking hydration. And he sees these 7 daughters of the priest of the Midianites. Read on, Baba Kashar.
But Moses stood up for them and watered their flock.
Moses did what?
Stood up for them and helped them and watered their flock.
So Moses stood up for them and he helped them. And how do you think he helped them? He drove these bullies away. He's showing them his manliness, his manhood. He's standing up to these punks, so to speak. If these shepherds had walked the earth today, he was punking them. So imagine these 7 daughters of the Midianite priests are at the waterhole, getting bullied by local shepherds, and Moses exercises his manhood on the spot. Bear in mind, Moses is a stone cold killer. He's a double-edged sword wielding perfectionist. He's good with the sword. He was an Egyptian general. He led the Egyptian army. Let's not forget who Moses was. Yeah, Moses could have dealt with 10 of these shepherds.
That's right.
And he's talking to the head shepherd. He's telling him, back the hell up or something bad's going to go down.
That's right.
He's exercising his manhood. And these women are watching him and they like what they see. He's punked up the bullet. He's punked them. And these bullies are having to back down. So read on, Baba Kasha.
And watered their flock. And when he came to Ruel, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds.
So these 7 daughters have arrived home earlier than they usually do, which suggests that these bullies have had these sisters up, these women, these 7 Midianite women up before. But Moses has put a stop to this. Yeah, by exercising his manliness, his manhood. And these women have come back to their father, and their father's asking them, how come you're home early today? You're home 2 hours early. What the hell's going on? And the head daughter has said, some Egyptian, because Moses to them was an Egyptian. He was dressed like an Egyptian. He spoke like an Egyptian. But guess what? He was not an Egyptian.
That's right.
He was an Israelite. Yeah, but they took him for an Egyptian. Is there any more other one? Just read the end of that, Baba Kasha.
And also drew water enough for us and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him that he may eat bread.
Okay, so the father's name is Rahul. Okay, the father's name's Rahul. And maybe there's no record that it's the eldest sister, but there's a good chance it was probably the eldest sister or the one that speaks up for the other sisters. She's addressed her father and said that, look, this Egyptian saved us. He came to our rescue. He flexed his biceps and he ran the shepherds and punked them. He punked them and got rid of them. We got our water early, and that's why we're back earlier. The father wants to know, if this guy was such a saint, why haven't you brought him back to break bread with us? I want to meet this brother. I want to meet this guy. I want to feed him. Go and get him. So they've gone to go back and get Moses. And Moses, as we're going to find out, ends up having 2 wives. Okay, and this is his first wife. And I believe her name was Zipporah. Let's read on and get it. Where are we? Verse 19, 20?
21.
No, Salakia. It's Salakia, yeah. Khan.
Verse 21. And Moses was content to dwell with the man.
So Moses was happy to go and meet the father. Read, Baba Kasha.
And he called, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter.
Okay, so this is, would this have been his eldest daughter? Most likely. There's no record of it being the eldest daughter, but it's more than likely she was the head sister or the firstborn daughter. And Raul is giving Moses his daughter Zipporah. Okay, the one that came back and spoke up about Moses to Raul, her father. Read on, Baba Kasha.
Right. And she bare him a son. And he called his name Gershom.
What was the son's name?
Gershom.
Read on.
For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land.
So there you go. So here's Moses' first wife. And all throughout this Bible, you're going to see that there was many men that had multiple wives. Moses being one of them. Okay, Moses had a wife called Zipporah. He had a second wife that was called.
She's not named, but I know she's Egyptian.
Yeah, not that she is named. It begins with A. His second wife's name begins. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Because it wasn't his second wife Ethiopian.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron and Miriam were pissed. They were mad.
That's right.
They were mad at him. So Zipporah's the first wife. And the second wife, I believe, is Tarbis, the Cushite. Is it Tarbis?
It might be Josephus. I don't think the Bible's documented. I could be wrong.
Tarbis. Oh, yeah, it might not be. Okay, let's jump there. Let's go to So where are we? Raoul's given Zipporah to Moses as his wife, and Moses and Zipporah's a Midianite woman, and the two of them had a son called Gershom. Let's go to Genesis 29 and 18, Baba Kashar. So we're going to get documentation of polygamy in the Bible, that it is not adultery and it is completely lawful to have multiple wives. There's many men in our records that had multiple wives. Okay, and we're going to prove that, demonstrate it, and prove it to you tonight. And listen, in these last days, we're shutting down Christianity once and for all. We're sick to death of Christianity and our people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians being led up the garden path. Okay, Christianity is for the chopping board. We're done with it. We're not done with it. We're just getting started.
That's right.
How about that? Can you read that for us, Baba Kashar?
Genesis 29 and 18. And Jacob loved Rachel.
Okay, so this is touching on the story of Jacob. Who is Jacob? Jacob is our granddad. He's the forefather of the Israelites. All 12 tribes. We came from Jacob's loins. That's where we come from. Okay, so 29 and 18. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
And Jacob loved Rachel.
So Jacob loved Rachel. Rachel had a sister called Leah. Okay, and Jacob loved the younger sister called Rachel. But he couldn't have Rachel because according to our law, who is supposed to be married first? If there's this is why Zipporah must have been the eldest daughter. Raoul would never have but then again, these are Midianites. So it might not have, our traditions or our law would not have occurred to them. But certainly with Rachel and Leah, Leah was the eldest sister in this story of Jacob's multiple wives. Okay, and this demonstrates that polygamy once again is lawful for our so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, our people. Polygamy is lawful. Monogamy is nonsense. It's something that's taught in the Christian church and it's not recorded in the Bible. Okay, so Jacob had to marry Leah first, but he thought he was getting Rachel. So let's read on and get to the bottom of the story.
And said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel.
Okay, so Jacob loves this girl, loves this woman so much, he's prepared. He can't afford the dowry. So he's prepared to work off the dowry over 7 years for this woman. So would I do it? 7 years? Yeah. I don't know. She would have had to look like Naomi Campbell, Halle Berry. Maybe not.
That's what she probably was, man.
Yeah, she probably looked like Halle Berry or Naomi Campbell or Vivica Fox. Who knows? Let's read on and get the story.
No sweat. For Rachel, thy younger daughter. And the bond said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days.
Okay, so he loved the younger sister Rachel and worked for the father Laban. The father of Rachel and Leah's name was Laban. He was an Israelite. He worked for him for 7 years to pay the dowry, or what's commonly known nowadays as the bride price. Would you call a dowry nowadays a bride price?
Yeah, kind of something.
Okay, so something like that. Jacob was given. Who was he given? He thought he was getting Rachel. Let's read on.
Come on. For the love he had for her. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her.
Okay, so Jacob here has done the work. He's put the hours in. Now he wants his reward. What's his reward? His reward is Rachel. His reward is Vivica Fox. That's what Jacob's reward is. And he's going to Laban and ask him for his reward. He wants his woman. He wants his wife. Completely natural. For our men anyway. Read on Baba Kashadwa.
Verse 27, and Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him. And he went in unto her. And Laban gave his daughter Leah, Zilpah, his maid, for her handmaid.
Salakia, where we at?
25 now.
Hold on. 29 and 25. Salakia, can you read that again, Baba Kashadwa?
Come. And Laban gathered all the men.
No,
22 now. Went back a bit.
and gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. Okay, yeah, Salakia. Read on, sir.
23.
Go on.
And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her.
Okay, so here Laban, the father, has brought his eldest daughter Leah, which is completely normal, completely natural amongst Israelites. The eldest daughter should be married first. Okay, but this is not what Jacob was expecting. This is not what he had bargained or dealt for. Okay, he had bargained and dealt for Leah, for Rachel, who was the younger, and according to Jacob, the fairer sister of the two. Fairer meaning the beautiful one or the prettiest. Read on, Baba Kashar.
And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for her handmaid.
Okay, so now Jacob's gone into the tent. He's done his deed. He's married who he thought was Rachel, but it's really Leah. Okay, which suggests that it says here a feast. She gathered all the men. All the men were gathered for a feast, for a ceremony. So the chances are that Jacob was drinking. He was a little wavy. You know, he's a little tipsy. He's gone in and made a marriage with Leah, thinking it was Rachel. It's probably dark in the tent. Probably got one lamp in the corner. Okay, and then Leah's brought Zilpah.
No, the dad gave his maid.
Yeah, and the father Laban gave Zilpah, the handmaid, as a concubine. So here's two wives. Here's polygamy. This is polygamy. So Jacob's already got two wives here. But your Christian pastor tells you that polygamy is unlawful. But again and again and again in our records, we read that polygamy is lawful. This is Jacob, the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel, the forefather of you blacks, our blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, our people. Us, he's our forefather. Without Jacob, we would not be. Okay? And Jacob, here's two ribs. Here's two wives recorded in the book of Genesis, chapter 29, 18, all the way through to 30, or how many verses it is. Jacob's already got two wives here. We're going to read on and see if he gets the wife that he actually wanted and he bargained and negotiated for. Read on, Baba Kashada.
God. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this?
Okay, so he's seen in the morning now, daylight's broke. He's probably he's in hangover Harry mode, but he can see now. And he's seen that this is not Rachel, he's married. He's actually made married in the middle of the night with Leah, the elder sister, and he's gone to confront the father, Laban, and to say, what's going on? What's the deal? Read on, Baba Kashar.
What is this thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, it must not be done in our country. It must not be so done in our country.
Okay, so let's get a definition of beguiled. Do you know what beguiled means, other one?
You won't get it in the Bible.
You won't get it in the Zandavan.
Yeah, regular one.
Beguiled. Let's get a definition of beguiled. Okay, and we're in verse 20. What is this that thou hast done?
26, I think.
Okay, midway through verse 25. What is this thou hast done to me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? Beguiled means...
Yeah, got it. So you got beguile. And it reads, to charm or enchant someone, often in a deceptive way.
Okay, so he's been duped.
That's right.
He's been duped. The father's duped him. And now he's confronting Laban, the father. Verse 26, Baba Kashar, the one.
God. Verse 26. And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country.
So this is Laban saying, look, amongst us Israelites, you know how it goes, Jacob. You can't just take the younger daughter and my eldest daughter is without man. It doesn't work like that in Israel. Read on, Baba Kashar.
God. To give the younger before the firstborn, fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet another 7 years.
Okay, so now the father's telling Jacob he's got to do 14 years. He's got to do 14 years of work to get the second daughter, and he will have 2 sisters to marry. Okay, maybe not something I'd do today, marry 2 sisters from the same family, but it's not unlawful, and it's here in our records. It's right here in Moses's records. Moses has recorded this because he's the author of the book of Genesis, and we know this. Okay, so it's not unlawful to marry 2 sisters, and is
in the law of Moses.
In the law. Oh yeah, because Christ came back and taught something.
But to marry 2 women's fine. Yeah. It's like,
polygamy is not unlawful in the Bible. Okay, so 2 sisters. Okay, so we don't want to teach anything that's not right. So 2 sisters from the same family, other one is unlawful.
God, that's right.
Okay, and why was it not unlawful here?
He was swindled, so he got swindled. That's the reason why. But if you can't marry 2,
so Laban has broken the law here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, so you cannot marry 2 sisters from the same family. Yeah, but Laban has done that here to Jacob, and that's why Jacob's pissed off. And he didn't get the woman that he bargained for. But as we read on, we'll see that Jacob does another 7 years' work just to get the woman that he bargained and dealt for. He loved this woman. He was not letting Rachel go anywhere else. Read on, Baba Kashar.
Verse 28. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, to wife also. Okay,
so here Jacob's got the 2 sisters. Okay, he's got Leah, who's his first wife. He's got the handmaid Zilpah, and he's finally, after 14 years, he married Rachel. Rachel is the woman that he always wanted, and Rachel is the woman that Jacob loved. He would have been happy just getting Rachel, but he's ended up with 3 wives here. And how does he end up with his 4th wife? Because this is polygamy in the absolute. Jacob had 4 wives. He had 12 sons with 4 women, 4 wives. And his final wife, And let's read about it in verse 29, and let's get her name.
And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter, Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her maid.
Okay, so Bilhah, who was Laban's handmaid, was given to Rachel as a handmaid. And what will she be doing? Sewing her dresses, prepping her food, little errands and bits and bobs around the house, doing her hair, maybe braiding her hair in the morning before she goes to sleep at night.
Basically, a wedding gift.
And there you go, a wedding gift. There you go. And what happened? What became of Bilhah? Bilhah ended up marrying Jacob.
That's right.
So Jacob was a real Israelite man. And anybody that believes that polygamy is not in the Bible, polygamy is unlawful in the Bible, you're wrong. And your Christian pastor is wrong for teaching you this.
That's right.
Because here is a perfect example of polygamy being lawful. And Jacob, who's the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel, is one of the many, many men in the Bible, in our records, that had multiple wives. So instead of questioning this and building up so much pride after embracing the teachings of your Christian pastor, because our women are sitting around saying, oh, if my husband cheats on me, polygamy is cheating. If my husband cheats on me, I'm gone. I'm taking the kids. I'm packing a bag. I'm going back to mum's. I'm going back to Jamaica. It's over. Leaving your man on by himself, putting your man away, divorcing him. Now you're breaking the law.
That's right.
But polygamy is not breaking the law. And this is what we need to understand and start to get, Israel. Because until we start to understand the Bible and start to get this, we're going to keep listening to these Christian pastors and getting it wrong again and again and again. Okay, let's go to Numbers 12 and 1, Baba Kashar Adawan. So let's remember, that Jacob was given the wrong daughter. Okay. But eventually he got the woman that he wanted, Rachel. He had 4 wives. He had 12 sons with the 4 wives, and them 12 sons are the sisters and the brothers, the Aquathian and the Akyam today in the ISUPK. That's us. We are the last people in the truth in this whole kingdom, in this whole wicked kingdom, that are carrying on the lineage and taking our inheritance back.
That's right.
From the loins of Jacob, from the loins of Israel. And this is what we've got to remember, because we're stuck up in that Christian church believing that polygamy is against the law. And what's it turning our women into? Whores. It's making them prideful. It's making them everything that the Bible teaches our women should not be. If you embrace polygamy as a sister, then you are a virtuous woman, according to the Bible. You got something for us?
Yeah, why so deep? We're not going to be turns a woman into whores. Our women think that they can have sex with a bad man, but because they don't have it at the same time, because they dumped this man, has sex with another man, then dumped him, they think that they're not whores. According to Bible, you're a woman. They think that because I had sex with a man on a break, therefore they whores, or I'll divorce him first, then I had sex with another man. They think that makes it right, you know?
And that's heavy. And
that's just monogamy for you, man.
Yeah, that's what monogamy does. It turns our women into whores, for sure. And just to top up that, they have got a secret agenda, and they've had it for 1700 years, since the Greeks and the Romans made monogamy a law to a married man. Because remember, we're Roman and Greek citizens. We're Roman and Greek slaves. Okay, somebody could have bought our slavery, or we could have become a Roman citizen, but it was not easy, because we was originally taken to Europe as slaves. We were the gladiators fighting in the Colosseums. So their laws didn't necessarily apply to us unless you fought your way out of the Colosseum and fought for your freedom and got Roman citizenship. But How many Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians do you think that happened to? Come on. So let's remember, yeah, their laws were not for us. And another reason, apart from turning our sisters today into whores like the Christian church does, this is to generate money. Monogamy is another reason for monogamy was always to generate money for the church and for the governments, these Western governments who capitalize off of this. They capitalize off of it because no marriage license is free. We forget this. No marriage license is free. No divorce license, no divorce papers is free. You've got to pay to get divorced. You have to pay. And I don't even know how much, but you have to pay. I'll tell you what I do know from documentaries is a divorce is periodical. It might take 9 months. It goes through a process like a passport or any government documentation. So you might pay £2,000 for a divorce, and that's just a box standard divorce, okay? And that might take 9 or 10 months or 11 months or a year for that paperwork to get put together by the government solicitors, and eventually you get a letter through the post with a divorce license in it, divorce papers in it. You have to sign that, send it back off, then it comes back and your divorce is official. If you want, that process can be hurried up. If you go for a passport, what can you do if you want your passport quick? Fast track your passport and pay more money. You can fast track your divorce papers. But what do you have to do to fast track your divorce papers? You have to pay more money. And that's the bottom line. So this was always to make our women whores and to generate more revenue for them, the oppressor. This was never about Israel because monogamy is not our thing. It's not for us and it's not our thing. It's not in our records. Have we got Numbers 12 and 1?
Numbers 12 and 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman.
Okay, so here Moses has got his second wife, a Cushite, an Ethiopian woman. Now he's had Gershom with his first wife, a Midianite, Zipporah. And not many of you Christians read the Bible, so you don't even know that Moses had multiple wives. 2 wives is multiple because it's more than one.
That's right.
So even Moses, the great Moses, who you say, okay, he was a great man, he was a prophet, we're going to take him to Hollywood, make movies about him, but we don't believe his laws.
That's right.
We only believe in 10 of them.
That's right.
Okay, but Moses had multiple wives. Moses had multiple wives, just like Jacob, and they're not the only 2. A lot of these men, a lot of our men, blacks, you blacks, Hispanics, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in the Bible, in our records, had multiple wives. Read on Baba Kashada one.
Done. Because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, have the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us?
Okay, so even though Moses has married a heathen woman, a Cushite, an Ethiopian, polygamy is still lawful in the Bible, according to our records. It's still lawful. Read on, Baba Kashar.
God. And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men that were upon the faces of the earth. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, come out ye, thee unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they came, the 3 came out. Okay,
so we get the gist. So the Most High God, Yahweh, the power, our power, the one true God of Israel, is about to cast judgment on Miriam and Aaron for judging Moses. So here, this demonstrates that polygamy is even a greater law. Well, no, we can't say that. But here, the Most High God is more pissed at Aaron and Miriam for talking bad about Moses for marrying a heathen woman. Remember, Moses was not me. He wasn't your average Israelite. Moses was the leader of the greatest nation God ever put on this green earth. And we have to remember that. Moses, the things that Moses done and got away with, me and you could not get away with. Okay?
He didn't know better at the time. He didn't get the commandments when he married these heathens at the time.
Okay, so, and the Bible says where there is no law, there is no sin. Now, even though there is a law, we cannot marry heathen or anybody from these other 17 nations. Moses wasn't aware of this. Moses didn't have the law at this time. Remember, he'd been raised as an Egyptian, not as an Israelite. Okay, so Moses wasn't aware of this. And Aaron and Miriam were talking up against Moses for having the Cushite woman, and the Most High God, they kindled the Most High's wrath. Okay, but we get the gist of this. Polygamy is all throughout the Bible.
That's right.
And Moses had multiple wives, which is polygamy. There's no mention of Moses marrying the Midianite woman and embracing monogamy. It's just not in here.
That's right.
But this is what your Christian pastor teaches in the church, and it's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Let's jump to 1 Kings 11:3, Baba Kashar. We're going to demonstrate polygamy again and again and again till you Christians in the back row start to get this and come out of that demonic church where you will never find God. The Most High God does not dwell in these brick buildings. Acts 7:48. Acts 7:48. Do you want to pull it real quick on your
48.
Acts 7:48. The Most High God doesn't dwell in the church. So why do we think that the church can teach us anything about polygamy or anything to do with the Bible that's the truth? The people that are teaching out of these brick buildings are liars.
That's right.
And the Most High God knows they're liars and doesn't dwell amongst them.
That's right.
Let's get it. Acts 7:48. Bob.
Acts 7:48. Howbeit, the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands.
There you go. The Most High God, you Christians that go to church to worship, believe in what your pastor's teaching you, monogamy is lawful.
That's right.
Monogamy is about the Most High God. Guess what? You will never find the Most High God in your church.
That's right.
Because he doesn't dwell in these brick buildings. Let's get back on topic. 1 Kings 11:3, Baba Kashar.
1 Kings 11:3. And he had 700 wives.
What was that?
And he had 700 wives.
No, he had one wife because he loved monogamy.
And he had 700 wives.
He had 700 wives. Who is this talking about in 1 Kings? This is talking about King Solomon. This is talking about King Solomon. And King Solomon had 700 wives. Do you know what King Solomon was? King Solomon was a gallus. He was a coxman, a real gallus. Real gallus. King Solomon didn't play. He didn't play. Read that again, Baba Kashar, other one.
And he had 700 wives.
Read on.
Princesses and 300 concubines.
Okay, so that's 1,000 wives. So he had 700 princesses. King Solomon had 700 princesses and 300 concubines who he was sleeping with. So all in all, he had 1,000 women. He had 1,000 wives. This is definitive proof that polygamy exists in the Bible, and it's not unlawful. The only thing that King Solomon messed up with is that many of these women, there's no records of how many, but many of these women, multiple of King Solomon's wives were heathens, but were not Israelite women, and they were leading him astray. He was coming away from God and following them and following their idols and their fake gods. And that's what kindled the Most High God's wrath, the God of Israel, the one true God. Okay, is there any more on that other one in 1 Kings?
So his wives turned away his heart and stuff.
Yeah, read that for me.
And his wives turned away his heart, For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods.
Okay, so this demonstrates that polygamy was lawful. He had 1,000 women, 700 wives, 300 concubines, and many of them were heathen, or more than one of them, multiple of them were heathen and led him astray. And that's what peed the Most High God off with King Solomon. Okay, and we can't stop forgetting this, because here's three main characters in the Bible, three mighty men of the Most High God in the Bible, and they all had embraced polygamy. None of them dealt with monogamy, which comes straight out of the Christian church, these Romans and Greeks that have been teaching this for 1700 years, and they're still teaching it today. And it's not lawful monogamy. It turns our women into whores. It makes their states richer and richer, while it makes Israel poorer and poorer.
That's right.
Do we all understand this? Do we all get this?
That's right.
Back in the day, multiple wives was common and extremely popular. Having multiple wives back in the day was extremely common and popular. You understand? Especially amongst the sisters, because the Christian church has done a number on them and taught them it's filthy and disgusting. Do we all get this? We've been taught that polygamy is filthy and disgusting, but in the Bible it's lawful. And if you want to know where this stems from, we've shown you. Monogamy is not in the Bible. It comes from the Roman church, the Roman and the Greek empires, the Christian church today, the modern Christian church, the Baptist, Seventh-day Adventist, all the modern day Christian denominations that push this nonsense. Yeah, absolute rubbish. Okay, what do we want? Let's jump to Isaiah, Baba Kashar, other one. Isaiah 4:1. Time we on, we've got half an hour left.
Isaiah 4:1.
Salakia, sir, let me just jump up with you. Isaiah 4:1, I'm there. Anytime you're ready, Baba Kashar, sir.
Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach.
Okay, we're going to read this again, but all you sisters out there that are full of pride, that believe that if your man goes and gets a second woman or a second wife, that you should be leaving him or divorcing him or putting him away, full of pride, full of this prideful vengeance, which makes you go out and turn yourself into a damn whore. You should ask your Christian pastor to break down Isaiah 4:1.
That's right.
Get a breakdown of Isaiah 4:1 of your Christian pastor and watch how he dribbles and talks nonsense to you about this precept. Read that again, Baba Shah, I beg you.
And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread.
What?
We will eat our own bread.
So 7 women will take hold of one man. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
No, 1 woman will take hold of one man.
7 women shall take hold of one man.
Wow. And it's a done deal. Your Christian pastor's done. He's dead. We've snapped his neck and rang it. He's finished. How the hell do you get around this? Isaiah 4:1. In that day, 7 women will take hold of one man. So, and they will have their own everything. They'll have their own food, their own pot, their own clothes, their own garments. All these 7 women wish and care for is what, other one? Read on.
God, Slakia. Only let us be called by thy name.
Only what, sir?
Let us be called by thy name.
So you've got 7 women. They're not going to share pots. They're all going to have their own pot, their own bread. They're all going to have their own garments, their own clothes. They're not going to share each other's panties. They're not going to share each other's dresses, each other's shoes. Everything they have will belong to them. The only thing they will share and care to share is the same last name, the same family name. And why? Why do they want to share the same name? Because back in the day, can you imagine being a sister 2,000-3,000 years ago and living on your own? You would have been at great peril and great risk. Having a man's name was security. That's right. Having a man's name was protection. Especially, and we're going to go to Matthew and see what Christ says about it in red writing. Okay, having a man, having a husband back in the day was security and protection. No man's going to come in your house and mess about with you. No man is going to come and covet the goods of another man or try to steal, rob, or take your food, your clothes, your wealth, your woman, anything in your house that belongs to you. And your woman belongs to you because she's a possession. We've got to remember that your woman is part of one. She's a possession of yours. So, and having multiple wives is having multiple possessions. We've got to remember this. Can you read that again, Baba Kashada one?
Come on. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
And you know what? These women are just great. Back in the day, women were grateful. Women were grateful the Most High provided them with a righteous man. You got something for us,
deep, because this is saying the woman saying, listen, I take care of myself, just be my husband. And which is mad because today they say you gotta pay for her nails, you gotta buy this. What do you bring to the table? A woman asks, what job do you have? And these women here are saying, fuck all that, I'll buy my own clothes. I want to be the wife for Grafia, I want to be the wife for the. You got the wisdom, I want to be under you, man.
Come on.
Don't worry about the nails and the shoes and all that stuff, the handbags. I got this, man. Just let me be your wife. You feel me?
And why is she so joyous to be married to Captain Carathia? Because she knows she's not going to get raped, she's not going to get robbed, she's not going to get abducted. Nothing's going to happen to her that a mighty man of the Most High will not take care of or deal with. So in that sense, the woman is protected. She wants that family name because she gets security. What comes with that family name is security and protection all the time. And we've got to remember this and stop. We've got to get into our sisters that pride that the church has put in them, that pride that the Christian pastor has put in them to make them believe that polygamy is filthy, is dirty, is disgusting. Polygamy is anything but. Polygamy is a beautiful thing according to the Bible. It saves our women from being whores. It secures our women's future and it protects them and secures their safety, their immediate safety. That's what polygamy does. Now, given the fact polygamy is not for everybody, if one man wants one wife, there's no law saying that cannot be. If you're a man, if you're in the ISUPK under Commanding General Johanna, if you just see one woman that you adorn and you just want one woman, there's no law saying you must have multiple wives. You've got to have 3 wives. You've got to have 2 wives. It doesn't work like that. There's no law forbidding you from only having 1 wife. It's what suits you. But if you can afford 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives, if you want 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives, if you want multiple wives, there's no law against polygamy. Now, we understand that this is not for everybody. And we understand that women, a lot of women, back in the day, in modern days, especially more so in the modern day, a lot of women do not love polygamy. Yeah, but guess what? We're not asking you to love polygamy. What are we asking the sisters to do? Abide by the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. And polygamy is not unlawful. So if you've got the man that you want to be with and he gets a second wife, don't think that's a route for you to divorce or put your man away. Okay, you do not have to love polygamy. You have to live by it.
That's right.
You have to abide by these laws. And that's what we're asking our sisters to do. Our so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We don't care what the other 17 nations women do. They can have 10 marriages and 10 divorces in one life. All they're doing is making the oppressor richer and they're getting poorer. That's for them. This is not for us. This is not for us. Let's jump to Mark 3:27, Baba Kashar.
Mark 3:27.
Yeah, because do you know another thing that you hear in the Christian church? Oh, polygamy is not in the New Testament. You only find polygamy in the Old Testament. It's only in the Old Testament. We're going to see now that that's a damn lie. That's another lie that Christianity pushes on our people, because polygamy is throughout the New Testament as well as the Old Testament. Okay, as it was written. Do we all understand this? Do we all follow this?
That's right.
So the book of Mark, chapter 3, and I believe it's verse 7. Let me just check.
27 minutes here.
3 and verse... Khan, another one, Khan. If you can read that, Baba Kashar.
Sure. Mark 3:27.
And this is just a backup of what we've gone through in Isaiah 4:1. This is Christ talking. This is red writing. Christ is telling you why the women, these 7 women, just want the man's name. You know, because along with this man's name comes a great protection and security. Let's read what Christ has to say. Baba Kashar.
No man can enter into a strong man's house.
No man can enter into a strong... What is a strong man's house? Let me tell you what a strong man's house is. Captain Karathia is a strong man's house.
That's right.
Officer Dungabar is a strong man's house. Trooper Radar, Officer Tazapawan. These men's houses are strong men's houses. No woman's going to walk into any of these men's houses and take up what they want. So with that comes an element of protection and security. Read on another one, Baba Kashar.
And spoil his goods.
And spoil his what?
Goods.
And no man's going to go into a strong man's house and spoil his goods. And what are them goods? Your food, your garments, your wife. Read on, Baba Kashar.
Except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his goods.
Okay, he's only going to spoil his goods if he binds the strong man. What does it mean to bind? Defeat and tie up. Okay, and that's not going to happen to one of the men in the ISUPK or the commanding general Johanna. We've got specialized training. We've got specialized training, hand-to-hand combat. We'll take on any of these brutes and defeat them. Do you understand? Our women feel safe in our houses. Our wives always feel secure and protected. When we have feast days, we walk our women to the cars when they're going home.
That's right.
We don't just send a woman out of the school, out into the darkness of the night and tell her, make your own way home. We pick our sisters up and bring them to the school. We drop our sisters off on their doorstep, especially the ones that are unmarried. And the ones that are married are already in a strong man's house.
That's right.
And this is what Christ is talking about here. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house.
There you go, self-explanatory. And if there's no strong man in your house, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can walk into it. Do we understand this? If there's no strong man in your house, if you refuse to have a husband because he's got a wife already, are we understanding this? You live in a weak house. You are not bound by a strong man's house. To have a strong man's house, you need a strong husband.
That's right.
And where do you find a strong husband? In the ISUPK,
That's
the Commanding General Johanna. Point blank and period. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to it. Even the woman, look, you don't want Tom, Dick, and Harry walking up in your house thinking they can do what they want, back off their shoes, put them up on your coffee table, take the piss, stay at your house rent free. Listen, you've seen these after parties that our people keep at the weekends, and some of the man them just dossing, loafing around the woman's house all weekend. Sunday morning, the after party's done, the man's still there. You wake up Monday morning, the man's still there on the sofa. Is he homeless? Why don't you go home? Where do you live? Wednesday, the woman's still cooking. This is not her husband. What the hell are you doing here? Men will take liberties with our sisters if you're not behind the door of a strong man's house.
That's right.
Let's start to understand this, sisters, and you'll understand if you've ever been a victim of a man taking liberties in your home, it's because you're not behind the door of a strong man's house. And that's what Christ is talking about here. If you've got a husband and a strong man, then no other man is going to walk into your house and do what the hell he wants to do. That's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. If there's no strong man in your house, Tom, Dick, and Harry can enter your home and take whatever they want. They can take the piss. They can pick up your car keys, take your car, bring your car back a week later. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen in Captain Karathia's house. That's not going to happen in Officer Dungabar's house.
That's right.
That's not going to happen in Officer Tzapawan's house.
That's right.
Guaranteed. Let's drop that and let's go to Matthew 5:1. Let's start at 5:1. A strong man, a strong man's house. A strong man will be strong emotionally, physically, spiritually. The person coming in is not going to be able to do what he wants. So you shouldn't be worrying about polygamy. You should be worrying about getting yourself a strong man and behind the door of a strong man's house. That's what Christ is talking about. Matthew 25, Barbukashar. 25, and we'll start at verse 1, sir.
Matthew 25:1.
Again, this is red writing. This is Christ. This is Christ speaking.
Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins.
Okay, Salakia. So Christians claim polygamy is only in the Old Testament. That's all we hear in the church. But what the hell is Christ? This is red writing. Is this not the book of Matthew, Adawan? Is this not the New Testament? What do we have to do to open the eyes of our people, our so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians? What do we need to do to open your eyes? This is right here in the New Testament. But you've been told polygamy is from the Old Testament, and that's the only place you find it. Let's listen to Christ. Read on, Babu Kashad.
Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins.
No, one virgin.
10 virgins.
Read on.
Which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
Okay, so let's understand that this is a parable. Christ is talking in parables all throughout the New Testament in his red writing. And what's a parable? A parable, this is not necessarily a fact. This is fiction, because Christ would make up a story and use it as a parable that was significant to what he needs to teach you. Okay, and that's what Christ is doing right here. He's speaking in parables. Okay, so this is not a factual story. This is fictional, but he's using the kingdom of heaven to liken it to 10 virgins. Read on, Baba Kasha.
Khan. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish.
So 10 women, 10 virgins. What's a virgin? A young maid, a young woman without marriage, okay, and without a man, without a husband, is 5 of them were wise, and 5 of them were foolish. Read on, Baba Kasha.
They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them.
So the 5 foolish ones that are going to see their husband, the kingdom of heaven's their husband. They're going to meet their husband. It's probably nighttime, and that's why they're so foolish. They've got no oil in their lamps. How are they going to see or set eyes on their husband? Read on.
God. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps.
So the 5 wise ones had light to view their potential husband.
That's right.
Read on, Baba Kasha.
Khan. While the bridegroom tarried, they were slumbered and slept.
So while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. Read.
And at midnight there was a cry, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him.
So at midnight, these 10 women had to wake up, these 10 virgins had to wake up and go to meet their potential husband. Read on, Baba Kasha.
Then those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
So the 5 idiots, the 5 foolish women now have realized the mistake they've made, and they're begging the 5 wise women to give them. Can you fathom this? Can you imagine this? Me and you go on holiday, or two brothers go on holiday, and we go in Mallorca. It's going to be 35, 36 degrees. You've got a suitcase of shorts and UPK t-shirts, and I bring a suitcase full of polar necks. When we get to Mallorca, I'm telling you, swap garments, take my polar necks and give me your t-shirts and shorts. It's just beyond a reason. It's just beyond reasoning. This is. Read on, Baba Kasha.
And the foolish said unto the wise, give us your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you.
It's like you. So the 5 wise virgins have denied the 5 foolish virgins and told them, no, you should have been prepped. Someone should have gave you the memo. You didn't get it. Read on, Baba Kasha.
But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. Okay,
so go and get your own. Differently, go and buy your own. Go. You've not come prepared.
That's right.
This is your own fault. You're as foolish as the parable of Christ gives you. This is how foolish these 5 in Christ's story here in his parable. These 5 women was foolish as hell. Okay, there's a bit more on this, is there not? What verse was that?
Verse 9, 10 now.
Can't read on another one, Baba Kasha.
And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut.
So there you go. You see, your name's not down, you're not coming in. The 5 idiots that didn't bring oil with their lamps, the door was shut on them. But the 5 that came prepped and were ready and prepared, they were let in to view and make marriage with their potential husband. Okay, read on, Baba Kasha.
Afterward came also the other virgin, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. But he answered and said, Verily, I say unto you, I know you not.
And there you go. The door was shut in their face, and they went back with their tails between their behinds. They got no husband. They got no husband. And this is you sisters, our so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians that are stuck up in that Christian church. The door is going to be firmly shut in your face because you believe that polygamy is unlawful and against the law. You've got no oil in your lamps. You sisters in the Christian church have got no oil in your lamps. That's whatsoever. Right. And Christ is talking right here about you. You've got to get yourself out of that Christian church and save your damn souls. Romans 4:15, Baba Kashar. You sisters listening to your Christian pastor, there's no future for you in that. There's no future for you in that. You do damn well to get yourself down to 394 Lodge Road and come into the home of the truth, the ISUPK, under Commanding General Johanna, because polygamy, it doesn't matter whether you've got a husband with 3 wives or 1 wife. You've got a strong man. No man is going to enter into a strong man's house. You're safe. You're protected. You have a last name that's going to be this that carries weight in your community, and your lamp is always going to be full of oil. Your life is always going to be full of light. Your pride is going to be diminished. It's going to disappear. It's going to go away. You are not to be prideful in these situations. You're to know how to use your pride and when to use it. Not to say that I'm leaving my husband because he's got a second wife.
That's right.
That kind of pride will get you destroyed and will get the door firmly shut in your face. Okay, so Romans 4:15, Baba Kushar.
Romans 4:15. Salakia. And it reads, because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression.
Okay, so if you break the law, you face a judgment. Okay, do we all understand this?
That's right.
If you break the law, you face a judgment according to the Apostle Paul. These are the records of the Apostle Paul. If you break the law, you face a judgment. But where there is no law, what is there?
Where there is no law, there is no transgression.
Where there is no law, there is no sin. You cannot break the law if there is not a law to be broken, according to the Apostle Paul. Read on, Baba Kashar.
Therefore, it is of faith, that it might be by grace to the end of the promise, might be sure to all deceive.
Okay, let's cut that. We get the gist. Read verse 15 again one more time, Baba Kashar. Adwan.
Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression.
Where the law is, there is no transgression. So let's understand this, okay? If there's no law saying polygamy is unlawful, then polygamy is lawful.
That's right.
Do we understand this?
That's right.
Let's jump to the law. Exodus 21:10. Because this is a deep subject. So many of our sisters are whores because they don't follow these laws of polygamy. They've embraced pride. They've embraced pride, and who's forced them to embrace their pride? The Christian church. This is the Christian church and your Christian pastor that has done this to our sisters, our so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian sisters. You understand? The daughters of Zion, the sisters of the Bible, what this Bible is talking about, what our records is talking about, our women. Okay, Exodus 21:10. Can you read that for me, other one, Baba Kashar?
Exodus 21:10. If he take him another wife.
If he take him another wife, read.
Her food, her raiment, her duty of marriage shall not diminish.
Okay, so you must love all your wives. This is showing you polygamy. This is definitive proof polygamy exists, and you are not allowed to put one. If you've got 3 wives, you can't put one away.
That's right.
Because she's becoming too expensive, or because she farts a lot in bed. You cannot. This is a law. This is in the book of Exodus. This is a law recorded by Moses. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
God, and if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, her duty of marriage shall not diminish.
Okay, so you must love all your wives. Stick to your marital duties. That's what the point Moses is trying to make. Stick to your marital duties. No matter what habits your wife's got, okay? No matter what habits your wife's got, stick to your marital duties and don't diminish them. What does the term diminish mean?
To take away, isn't it?
To take away, to make smaller, to diminish something made smaller. So for example, you might come home from work and give your wife £200 a week, and all of a sudden that £200 turns to £100 a week. That's unlawful. Okay, you do your duties as a husband, and you're not putting your wife away. Your wife might have some bad habits. This is why in the school we have protocol. We have 6-month protocol, a year protocol. You don't just jump on a woman in the school of the UPK, any school around the world, and marry the woman the same weekend you met her. That happens in this wicked world, in this wicked kingdom. This doesn't happen in the UPK under Commanding General Yahanna. We know better. We have protocol. You get to know a woman. You talk to her for 6 months. Then you ask for permission after another 6 months to marry. We're going to hear these in the security announcements at the end of the class. This is what you must do. And our records encourage this. You know, the Most High God does not make mistakes. You don't just find a woman from one of the 12 tribes and jump on her the same weekend or the same day or the same week. That's not how we do things in Israel. And we've got laws for a reason. We've got these records for a reason. Okay? And you cannot diminish your wife's part. You cannot diminish what your marital duties, what you're handing over to her wage, your wage. You know, you've got to be a man. You've got to be a real man according to the Bible.
That's right.
Point blank and period. Okay? You are not allowed to put your wife or your wives away, because divorce is illegal. Divorce is illegal in the Bible.
That's right.
Your wife might have some bad habits that you don't like biting her nails, any little thing that just wears thin over the time. If it's that bad, we go and get counsel. But it's not that bad, is it? You chose her as a wife originally, initially, and this is why you don't jump into marital situations like you would do in the world. You hear about these people that meet a woman Friday night, and then Saturday they're on a plane to Vegas to get a quick marriage, and then they're back on a plane Sunday morning back to the UK or back to whatever country they go into. Okay, let's get another law. Leviticus 20:10, Bob. Sure. We're nearly there now. I think this might be the last. This might be the last precept.
Leviticus 20 verse 10.
Salakia, let me just catch yourself. Salakia. Khan, when you're ready, other one. Khan.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
Okay, so if polygamy is not adultery, what is adultery? Let's find out. Read that again, Baba Kushado.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
Okay, so the man has to sleep with another brother's wife to commit adultery.
That's right.
That's not polygamy. That's adultery.
That's right.
And a polygamy is not adultery. They're two separate things. And that's what the topic of tonight's about. Polygamy is not adultery, because we've been taught that polygamy is adultery in the Christian church. And it's not. It's just not, according to our records. Read that again, Baba Kashada one.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
Okay, so those of you in the Christian church that have let the pastor get into your head and with pure confusion and mix polygamy with adultery, polygamy you will find in the Bible again and again and again, and it is where a man has multiple women or multiple wives. But for a man to go and sleep with a married woman,
right.
That is adultery. It's
That's
not
right.
polygamy, and that is unlawful, and that brings about death and destruction in amongst our people, because adultery has a judgment that carries the death penalty. Point blank and period. So I hope we can define now the difference between polygamy and adultery. They're two separate things. You've been taught in the church polygamy is adultery, but according to Leviticus, and what is it, 20 and 10? According to Leviticus 20 and 10, polygamy is not adultery. Adultery is when a man goes and sleeps with a married woman. That's adultery. You got something out of one before we close?
Adultery today in a dictionary is what? A man that has sex with someone that ain't his wife, or a man that has sex with a woman with no ring on anything there. According to the Bible,
I thought adultery was in the Christian church. They teach adultery as a man that sleeps with two women, cheats on his wife.
Adultery, adultery.
That's what they push in the Christian church.
What's a man that has sex with a woman that ain't his wife? Ring on his finger. Like you don't get a certificate. You have sex with a woman. Is that adultery according to them?
Yeah, but in the church they push that if you've got a wife, God. This comes from the Greeks and the Romans.
I get it.
Yeah,
what's a man that?
Yeah, there's more. They'll have more than one definition for adultery, but one of the main definitions is they've empowered women. The modern day, the oppressor has put all the power into the women. That's why we go to court and the man loses access to the child, has to pay maintenance, gets two visits a week with the child. This would never happen back in the day in Israel. The man had just as much rights as the woman, if not more. The child had the man's name. The child came from the man's loins, not from the woman. Okay, but now they've empowered the woman, like they've empowered the homosexual, like they've empowered same-sex marriage, like they've empowered fornication, liars, and all the things that are wicked in the Bible.
That's right.
Okay, so adultery in the church, they teach that if you've got a wife, embrace monogamy. Stick to your one wife. To go and have another woman or a side chick is adultery, or even a second wife. There's law. There's men sitting in jail for marrying twice. Bigamy. Okay, so I hope we understand this. Polygamy is lawful in the Bible. It's not unlawful. Ask your damn pastor why he's teaching you that it's unlawful and it's adultery. Because polygamy, like tonight's class topic, polygamy is not adultery. And with that, I'm going to hand the class over to Captain Karathia for the security announcement.
Right, with the ISUPK starting out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Johanna. Rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to marry a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3 and 8 to 10, means 10th in the Hebrew, Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or the teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations is a feast of trumpets. Or Akam and Akaf, check the bulletin board in the hallway and check all ISUPK social media.
So like the other one, what's the date for 22nd?
22nd of October.
It's either the 2nd of October.
2nd of October, Salakia. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, and headband and headscarf. And with that, I imagine we're going to give the teacher one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, I imagine Shabbat, I imagine Barak, Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai B'Katam,
Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai B'Katam.
Yad Jamata, dismissed.